Degrees, Highway 316 in Bogart. Tim Bryant, Classics of Today, Fox News, WGAU. 8:18, Classics of Today, 62 degrees, and the rain begins to move in. It'll be rainy today, and as you're hearing, much colder over the weekend and through the next few days, the first part of next week. 8:19 now, Classics of Today. Continuing our conversation with a candidate for Congress. Richard Winfield, professor at the University of Georgia, says he'll run as a Democrat in District 10. That's the seat occupied by Republican Jody Hice. Would be a primary. If everybody, and listen, nobody's a candidate until everybody qualifies. But the qualifying, assuming that everybody's announced, does so, we know we'd have primaries in both parties. Jody Hice is going to be primaried by a candidate out of Watkinsville and candidate out of Barrow County. Chalice Montgomery, we've had her on the program a couple times already, says she is running as a Democrat in District 10. We're talking before the break. Your proposal is to essentially guarantee everybody a job. I'm reminded of a story, perhaps apocryphal, but insightful nonetheless. Milton Friedman, the great free market economist. Supposedly, the story goes, was called over to some socialist country or other in, I think, Europe to serve as something of a consultant. They took him out to a job site. Some massive infrastructure, maybe they're building a dam or something, some massive job site. And on this job site, Milton Friedman looks around, and he notices he doesn't see any heavy equipment. No bulldozers, no cranes, no backhoes, no earth movers, just hundreds of men standing around with shovels. And so he asked, where are the bulldozers? Where's the heavy equipment? You're building a dam or whatever it is. You need the heavy equipment. Why is everybody armed with a shovel? And they said, well, this is a jobs program. This is a jobs program. Milton Friedman's response, then give everybody spoons.
Well, what socialist countries did, and it led to, in a sense, major economic dysfunction. On the one hand, they would put people to work without, in any respect, holding them responsible for being productive. And on the other hand, they let all the state enterprises stay afloat, no matter how they perform.
The old joke out of the Soviet Union, they pretend to pay us, we pretend to work.
Exactly. Now, when we're talking about a guaranteed jobs in our society, we're not talking about socialism. We're talking about, in a way, allowing capitalism to serve us all. And so when we put people to work, first of all, it's not a welfare handout. They'll be paid only if they do the work. And we're not going to put them to work doing things unproductively. We have the resources to tackle all of the kind of needs of our communities that are not being served, and to put our resources to work in as efficient a way as possible. And I think it's important to think about how game-changing that would be. Right now, young persons coming of age, ready to work, they face twice the unemployment of the rest of us. If they're people of color, they face even 4 times the unemployment rate. There's talk of this school to prison pipeline. Well, we can shut all of that down if we have a job guarantee where young people know they have a job awaiting them that will serve their community. And think of the impact on crime. If we set up a situation where everyone knows that they have a legal means of earning a living that will contribute to the welfare of everyone, this will have major impact, and particularly of the plight of people leaving prison, who currently have great difficulty finding employment. If they know they have a job awaiting them, this would be a different situation.
Candidate for Congress. He said something intriguing during the break. I want to pursue this for a moment. He said something about, and I'll paraphrase, and you can come back and clean up any mess I make. You want to make sure, or you would pursue policies that would work to ensure that income or the lack thereof, that my monetary value, so to speak, does not impact my legal standing in some negative way. What are you talking about there?
Well, if we're going to be able to defend our rights of any sort, we need to be able to enter the legal system and be able to enter it on a par with others. But currently, there are major aspects of how our legal system operates that makes our use of the legal system contingent upon how much wealth we have. And a major way a factor of this is access to legal representation.
Well, I've seen all the cop shows. I have the right to remain silent. If I can't afford a lawyer, one will be provided for me. What else is there?
Well, remember, that applies only to criminal prosecutions. And keep in mind that the lawyers that are provided to indigent clients are, to a large extent, underfunded legal aid lawyers and court-appointed lawyers. If you have money, you can get your dream team.
Sure.
On the other hand, all of your civil representation, which involves many of the most important aspects of our life, family disputes, fighting against sexual harassment, against discrimination, against malfeasance of employers. We're not able to really uphold our rights if we can't afford to have a lawyer in a civil suit. So what I'm suggesting or proposing is that we have a legal aid program similar to a single-payer health insurance program, where we have a legal insurance program funded by fair taxation, which would allow anyone to go to any lawyer they want for personal, criminal, legal defense and advice. And the rates would be negotiated in a fair way. And this would be paid out of this fund that could be
Yeah, there will be those who would suggest that you're going to use my tax dollars, therefore to basically shut down the free enterprise system by clogging everybody's daily activities with lawsuits.
On the contrary, we're going to allow the private legal industry to flourish because everyone will be able to use them. And the same thing applies to having guaranteed jobs and taking a similar approach to healthcare.
Would you think, you mentioned you used the phrase single payer. Are you a single payer guy?
I think there's a lot of talk of Medicare for all, and I think that's not entirely the correct approach. I think we have to recognize that healthcare is a right. We can't exercise any of our freedoms.
Back to my original point, healthcare is a service that is provided by physicians. And if you're saying it's a right, you're saying they are now obliged, and I'm obligated somehow to provide that to someone else. My right to freedom of assembly, spelled out in the Constitution, doesn't cost anything or impose any obligation on anyone else. You would impose, without saying healthcare is a right, you're imposing obligations on any number of people.
I'm not requiring any doctor to treat me or anyone else. But what we need to do is ensure that everyone has the resources to get the health care they need. And a single-payer system has three advantages. First of all, it covers everyone, or it should cover everyone. It can cover everyone, which is not the case with our current health system, where many people either have no insurance or they have insurance policies where the co-pays and deductibles are so expensive that they can't afford to use it. On the other hand, a single-payer system leaves in place all of our private clinics, practitioners, and so forth. And what it does is it simplifies reimbursements, so they don't have the headaches of dealing with hundreds, if not thousands, of multiple, insurance plans. And it reduces costs.
How do you answer quickly, very quickly, because we're up against it here, the criticism, and we have single payer. It's called the VA, and that doesn't seem to be working so
well. The VA is not a single-payer system. The VA is more like a national health service, such as you have in Britain.
Mention your campaign kickoff tomorrow, because we're really up against it. What time and where?
It's at 3 p.m. and it's going to be at the East Athens Dance Educational Center at 390 McKinley Street.
Is this doable for you? Can a Democrat, can you win in District 10?
Well, I think we should think of how Donald Trump managed to get 2/3 of the vote in our district. And he didn't pander to the electorate by stressing his Christian credentials or his small town origins or the struggles he went through and his family went through as they made it in the world. He cut to the chase and he said, I can get jobs. I can bring back manufacturing to the nation. Well, he's not giving the real solutions. I'm going to be giving the real solutions. And I think if that message gets through, I can peel away enough former Trump supporters to go to victory.
Campaign website?
The website is winfieldforcongress.com.
Winfieldforcongress.com.
All one word, FOR.
And active on Facebook and social media as well. Richard Winfield, we'll talk again. I keep saying qualifying. Sometime in March, I guess.
It is in
because
March.
the
1 week
primary
in March.
is going to be in May. Richard Winfield, thanks for coming in. Best of luck on the campaign trail. Best of luck tomorrow.
Okay.
8:27 Classics today. Tim Bryant, the briefest breaks, bottom of the hour news. When we come back, the really important stuff. Another angle on that football game of earlier this week. This one has the police involved. We'll get into it next. Classics today, Fox News, WGAU.